Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Georgia. I hope you're well. Welcome to my mid-year tag. I feel like I am very late in doing this. It's already sort of like mid-July when I sit down to film this, but I really want somewhere to sort of document all of this. So I've got many piles of books in front of me and I've got 10 questions that I'm going to go through and we are going to discuss all of my sort of like best and worst of 2026 so far. I don't know who created these 10 questions. I've seen like 4 or 5 different YouTubers using these questions now. I have taken a few out that I don't really like, so I've narrowed it down to 10 that I want to talk through. So let's just jump straight into my mid-year tag. But quickly before I do that, I do have some very exciting news to share with you guys. If you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you've probably seen this already, but I am officially engaged. Me and James are officially engaged, and just look at how pretty my ring is. Boy did good. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. We are so happy, and I feel like we've reached like the epilogue of my story, and it brings me so much joy. I just wanted to let you guys know, because obviously TikTok and Instagram, it's already posted on there, but just in case you don't follow me over there, I wanted to just let the YouTube family know. But yeah, I am officially engaged. It was the most amazing day. It was so sweet and so cute, and I was just completely caught off guard. It was absolutely mind-blowing, but I just wanted to share the news with you guys. So I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop and keep you up to date with sort of the happenings of my life as well. So without further ado, let's jump into my mid-year tag. So question number 1 then is the best book of the year so far. And to be completely honest with you, I couldn't narrow this down very much, so I have got 4 that I would like to mention at this point. There's definitely a theme for my favourite reads this year. There's definitely a genre in particular that I am loving. So the first book I want to mention is In Her Own League by Liz Tomforde. I read the rest of the Windy City series last year. We got the newest one this year. I know this is sort of like a spin-off book, but it's following Monty, which is one of the characters that we see a lot of in sort of particularly books 3 and 4 of the Windy City series, and I just absolutely love this book. It's definitely like a women in sport support type book, and I really like that. And we've got a really strong female lead in this book. We have Monty, who is just a gem anyway. I absolutely love Monty, and this one just, I really enjoyed it. I love how much support they were around women in sport and things like that. Like our main female character, Reese, she's the new owner of the baseball team, and it's obviously not very common for there to be a female running things, and I think it was just amazing to have that element in there, and also just like the spice. I love Monty anyway. It was just really nice and really nostalgic to sort of be back in with these characters. I love the characters that we follow in here. We also get sort of like snippets of some of the other people in this like group as well, and it was just like a really nice rounded off moment for this series. I absolutely loved this book. I also want to mention the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. I've read the first 3 books in this series now, and all of them have been 5 stars. I am devouring this series. I love it. I love the single dad element. I love the found family element. I just love these books so much. So I've read books 1 and 2 in the first half of the year, and I devoured both of them. Again, both of them 5 stars. Absolutely loved them. So I definitely wanted to mention this series. This is what I mean by those definite sort of genre that I particularly loved, because the next 2 are also country romance. So we've also got book 5 in the Silver Pines series. So this is Chasing the Fire by Paisley Hope, another one that I absolutely devoured. I loved this one so much. It was accidental pregnancy. He has sort of this mysterious hidden identity. It's the sort of like last girl in the friendship group, and I just loved this one so much. Asher Reed is just the perfect sort of mysterious book boyfriend. Like, I adored this book so much. The accidental pregnancy trope was done so well in this book. I feel like when done right, that can be one of my favourite tropes, and it was definitely done right here. I devoured this book. And then also One Last Rodeo by Emma Lucy. This is a relatively new to me author. I think I read her first book last year, or the end of last year I want to say. And I absolutely love her writing, and this one was no different. This is probably one of my favourite in the series. I think book 2 might just take it, but I absolutely loved this one as well. This was sort of like a single mom romance, so again, that single parent element, that's just one I absolutely love. It's a second chance romance as well, which I don't always like, but I feel like it was done so well here. There's a lot of talk about sort of trauma, and they have this shared trauma in the book anyway, and like, again, it was just dealt with so nicely and handled with so much care, and I devoured it. I loved it so much. Sawyer is the sort of like redeemed playboy, and we've got Honey, who's this sort of like really quiet. She's a school teacher, and I just loved it. I loved it so much. So another one that I absolutely devoured. Definitely one of my top books of the year so far. So there you have 4 books that I could not narrow it down from. I love them all so much. We're having a good year. My next question is the worst book of the year so far. Now I want to start by saying I don't feel like I've had any awful books this year. I feel like the lowest I've rated is 3 stars, and I've had 2 books so far that were 3-star. One was the second half of the year, so I'm not going to talk about that one, but the one from the beginning half of the year that I rated 3 stars was Darling Daffodil Farms by Brittany Nicole. I don't feel like I hated any books so far this year. I did enjoy this one, but there's definitely moments of this book that just pissed me off. I think the main female character was Mardy and annoying and petty, and I just don't feel like we wouldn't get on. But I still will be carrying on with this series. I think the series as a whole is going to be really good, and like the sort of hinting of the other couples are things I think I'm really going to enjoy. But this book in particular just didn't really settle with me very nice. Like, I feel like it did redeem itself, and I feel like I also found a few errors in this book that kept taking me out of it. I read this during a 24-hour readathon, and I don't know if that just didn't help. I don't know. The main female character, Tally, did annoy me, and like the sort of setup and the secrets, again, all sort of pissed me off a little bit, but the reason for them were kind of like, well, fair enough, but all in all, I just didn't love this one. So of all the books I've read so far this year, this is probably sitting at the bottom of the pile for me. But like I said, I will definitely be continuing on with this series because I feel like the setup and the couplings we've got for the next books are going to be really fun. So didn't love this one, but I'm hoping to enjoy the rest of the series when that comes out. The next one is something I think that's going to be a little bit controversial, but it's the most overhyped book in my opinion this year. And do you know what? Like I said, I think some people are going to hate me for this, but I've got to say it. If you've not heard of this, then I don't know where you've been living, but this is Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. This went mental. It got turned into a TV show. I haven't actually watched it yet. I do want to. Like, I feel like everybody needs to watch it, but I think this was just a little bit overhyped, in my opinion. I enjoyed it. I'm going to start by saying I did enjoy this book. I rated it 4 stars. I did have a fun time, but I have my issues with this series. Obviously, if this is your thing, love that for you, but I like when there's a little bit more going on, and I feel like if you took out all the sex scenes from this book, it would be like less than 100 pages long. Like, it's just back-to-back sex scenes, and I get that like sometimes that's exactly what you want, but I feel like not really much happens in these books. And I've said it when I read book 1 and book 2, like the first bit I love, and then it's just sex scene after sex scene after sex scene, and it's just constant. And then it like, just as you're getting to the point where you're like, right, I've had enough of this now, like, can we actually get back to the story? Something really cute and amazing happens, and then you're like sucked back in, and then it's like, right, okay, and then there's more sex scenes. So like, I feel like just as you're on the cusp of I've had enough of that now, it then sort of stops. There's an awful, what are you? That was an awful looking little bug on my window. So I did enjoy these. Like I said, it's an ice hockey romance, and the storyline that is in there is really cute, and I really like the support and the message that these books are sending out, and I really like that side of it, and I do think it's a good series and I am enjoying it. I just think it was slightly overhyped, in my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You may not agree, but in my opinion, this series is a little bit overhyped. And since reading this one, I haven't actually got around to reading book 3, so I should probably pick that up soon. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I want to watch the series. I would like to carry on with the books, but I just think that it was a little bit overhyped, in my opinion. Don't come for me. We next have releases from the first half of the year that I haven't read yet, and I've picked 3 from my ridiculous TBR that I haven't actually got around to reading yet, and the first one being Light Wielder by Rachel Schneider. Now, I read book 1 last year. I've literally got a video dedicated to that book. This book came out in May, and I just haven't got around to reading it yet. I'm really enjoying sort of a piratey romance. I've read a couple now, and I just think that it's such a fun style and such a fun genre, if you like. I love the pirate vibes. I love that setup. I do feel like book 1, in my opinion, I'd built up so much in my head and didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. So I'm trying to go into book 2 with sort of like a clearer mind, and I'm hoping to go in a bit more open-minded with this one and not be so set on like this is going to be the best book of the year, but I do still have high hopes for this book. So yeah, I do recommend Metal Slinger if you haven't read it. I rated it 4 stars in the end. Like I say, I really enjoyed it. The ending annoyed me a little bit. I feel like I was building up to this amazing thing, and it did catch me off guard and it got me really mad, and I feel like if anything brings out that level of like anger, then you know, it's done something right. But I'm really looking forward to jumping into this one. I want to see sort of like how they redeem the ending of that book, because the ending of that book was crazy. Like, so much happened. It was the biggest twist. So I'm really intrigued to see sort of where the story goes from here. Another book that came out this year that I haven't got around to reading yet is Fury Bound. I got the gorgeous Waterstones edition. Same with Lightwielder. I like my Waterstones sprayed edges. I feel like they've proper stepped up their game. It's incredible. This is another one I haven't gotten around to reading yet. So I read Diabound, I want to say this year. I only read it at the beginning of this year, I think, and I really, really enjoyed it. The ending of that book had everybody caught so off guard, like nobody saw that coming, and anyone who says they did is lying, because that was crazy. I absolutely loved the ending, so I'm really intrigued to see sort of like where that goes from there. So, does anybody know how many we're getting in this series? I know they've already announced book 3, but do we get another one after that, or is it just a trilogy? I'm so like, I've got no idea on the layout of the rest of these books, but I'm so excited to jump into this one again. The sprayed edges are beautiful, and I love, love, love the setup, so I'm really intrigued to get onto this one, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. And then another release that came out this year that I haven't picked up yet is Bloodbound by Elise Hunter. Now again, I've heard the most amazing things about this book. We've got witches, we've got dragons, we've got competitions, I believe. You cannot forfeit. Every generation, witches and dragon riders must fight for control of the source of all magic. You cannot run. The heirs will clash in a deadly competition where the only rule is kill or be killed. You duel or you die. It just like, is that not the most intriguing little like snippet into the book you ever did read? Like, I'm so intrigued by this one. I've heard the most amazing things, and honestly I don't know why I've not got around to picking this up yet. There is another book that should be on this list that's a bit further down in my pile because it answers another question as well, but I'll mention it later on for another sort of like romantasy one that I need to get to. For me, it's very rare I pick up like a romantasy book in the summer months. So like all of these books have come out sort of spring, summer, and I'm very much a romance reader in spring and summer, and then as we get into like the more autumny months, all I want to read is romantasy. I want those cozy vibes. I want the witches and the dragons. I want just cozy fun fantasy romance, but like in spring and summer, give me a country romance all day long. Like, I very much have set months for when I read each genre, and yeah, spring and summer is all about the romance reads for me. So I feel like that's the only reason I've not gotten around to reading those books yet, is just because I'm in such a romance mood at the moment. Moving on to question number 5 then, we have my most anticipated read for the second half of the year. Now I've picked 2 books for these ones. The obvious one being ACOTAR. Obviously we're getting the next book in the ACOTAR series at the end of this year, and then another one at the beginning of next, and I feel like the world, like the reading community, is just going to go insane when that happens. We are going to be booking weeks off work for this shit. Like, it's going to be a whole thing. So I'm honestly unbelievably mind blown and excited, and cannot wait to get my hands on that. But we also get a book from Veronica Roth, which I just cannot wait for. We're getting another sort of like Divergent spin-off. We're getting the 6th faction, which I think is going to be incredible. I read the Divergent series when I was about 16. Like, I really, really enjoyed the books when I was younger. I devoured them. And I'm so intrigued to be like back in that world and back with those characters, and have it with this new twist and this new sort of like life, and I just think it's going to be incredible. I genuinely am so excited. I want to say it's like October time, I might be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure it's October time. I am genuinely beyond excited to get my hands on that book as well. I've already got it pre-ordered. I am sat, seated, ready. I need to read that book. So that's another one that I am incredibly excited for the second half of 2026. Question number 6 then is my favourite new author of this year, and I'm gonna have to go for Clara St. James. Clara St. James is an indie author. She has written the Breakaway series, which is this series here. It is her debut series. They are ice hockey romances, and I absolutely love her writing. Now, I have got the old copies of book 1 and 2 and the new copy of book 3, but she has recovered both of these, and she's also sort of like rewritten and massively edited book 1. So obviously if you were to purchase these now, they'd be a little bit different to these 2 that I'm holding. This is the new style. But I absolutely love Clara St. James. I think her writing is incredible. I think her characters are so detailed and in depth, and just have so much depth to them. Like, I think that the character developments in her series are incredible. I love how interconnected they are. As much as they're interconnected standalones, I would recommend reading them in order, because we do have a lot of character crossover. So I do think it's very important to read them in order. I didn't. I read book 2 first, and then went back and read book 1 and then book 3. And like, I was okay with that, but I do think they would all hit a lot harder if you read them start to finish, sort of thing. But I absolutely love them. So we have Chase and Emma in book 1, Jackson and Maya in book 2, and then we have Tyler and Nora in book 3. She has also just announced that her next series is going to be a country romance series, which I am beyond excited about because I love her writing style. I love how easy reading it is. I love the dark and meaningful topics that we cover in all of her books. And I think that a country romance is going to be amazing by this author. So she's definitely up there with one of my favourite authors. And I just think that, like, especially to say this is her first ever series, I just think she is incredible. I would also like to quickly mention Emma Lucy. She is also one of my favourite new sort of like debut authors, and I love her writing. She's the one that wrote One Last Rodeo that I mentioned earlier, but I did read her first 2 books last year, but she's still a new author. She's a new to me author as of the last sort of like year in total. I love her writing as well. But I did want to mention both of them as they are both just incredible. I recently read both of their new books in a reading vlog, so I will link that for you guys as well. But I just absolutely love both of their writing. Clara St. James, Emma Lucy, I just think they are incredible. And then my next one is my biggest surprise of 2026 so far, and I have 2 that I would like to mention in this part. The next question we have is the biggest surprise, and I have picked 2 books that I want to talk about for this one. The first one being a series as a whole. I've just got book 1 because the rest of them are so heavy, but that's the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac series. Now, I was sort of like umming and ahhing on whether I was even going to bother picking these up. When I first finished book 3 in the Zodiac Academy series, I was like, can I be bothered? Do I want to just carry on with the Zodiac so I don't sort of lose track of where we are? But the recommended reading order was to pause after book 3 and pick up the Ruthless Boys, and that's what I did, and I've read all 5 of them now, and I absolutely loved this series. I can see exactly why we've stopped here. I can see how it's sort of intertwining for these characters to sort of mesh with the Zodiac Academy series as well, and I just think that this series was so much fun. It was so interesting. I was hooked from page 1. Like, I just think this series as a whole was so entertaining. There's definitely some silly moments and some daft moments, but like, we're following college kids. Like, we are at an academy, a school setting, and we have our main female character Elise, who's trying to sort of uncover the murder of her brother, and the only sort of hint that she's got is that like the king did it. Now there's the 4 kings of this school, so she's trying to get close to these 4 kings to sort of figure out who murdered her brother. And let's just say it's spicy, it's fun, it's silly, it's goofy, but it's also so intense and so like emotional, and the trauma the trauma, like this book has everything. This series has everything. I absolutely devoured it. I've had the most fun. I've literally just sat there and told you that I don't read romantasy in the summer and spring months, and I've read this full series, but this is an exception. Okay, I love this series. I absolutely devoured this. I think that it is a must read for anyone who enjoys that academy setting. I highly recommend the Zodiac Academy series. Like I said, I've only read the first 3 books, but I also now have read the whole Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac Academy series, and it honestly was one of the biggest surprises this year so far. I knew I'd enjoy it, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I have. It was incredible. So much fun. And then my other biggest surprise of 2026 so far was actually Unexpected Goal by Clara St. James. When we found out who this book was going to be following, I was so nervous because I was like, okay, this is gonna either be the greatest thing ever or just terrible, because of the male main character. This one follows Tyler. Now, Tyler in book 1 and 2 in this series is just not a very nice guy. He's actually a bit of a dick, and I really didn't like him, but following his story in this book really turned him around as a character, and I was so caught off guard by this book. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I went in with like very, not necessarily low expectations, because I love the author's writing style, but like, I wasn't expecting to be emotionally attached to the characters. I was expecting to be a bit like, yeah, whatever. But I devoured this, and like, coming out of this book, I love Tyler. I have this entire new sort of like respect and love for this character. I just think his character development was insane, and I genuinely enjoyed this book so much, and I have like a whole new appreciation for Tyler. He's actually a really nice guy, and honestly it's probably my most impressed character arc to date. Like, beginning of this book I hated him, the end of this book I absolutely loved him. Like, he's such a great guy. So this was one that definitely really caught me off guard, and that I was really surprised by, more for the characters than the sort of like writing style and that sort of thing. But I went in expecting to have zero attachment and came out obsessed with this. So, and the next one is my newest crush from my 2026 reads, and I have one that I would like to mention and one that is kind of cheating, but I'm going to say it anyway. So the first one is Western Belmont. Western Belmont. This is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is book 2 in the Rose Hill series by this author, and I am obsessed. Western Belmont is just, what a guy. So this is a single dad romance. He's a single dad to 2 sweet kids. One of them is selective mute, and like, he is just he's just insane. I love Weston Belmont. Like, I actually love Weston Belmont. Like, it's insane. His character is amazing. Him as dad, incredible. Him as a partner, incredible. Just this man, I am obsessed. I am honestly obsessed. I feel like all three men in these books so far could easily make it onto this list. Ford Grant in book 1, 100%. Weston Belmont in book 2, 100%. Rhys Dupree, 100%. I just need to get onto book 4 now and see if Sebastian lives up to the hype, because honestly, these men written by Elsie Silver are just a different breed. Like, they're insane. But yeah, I've got to say, Weston's probably winning so far. West is just such a guy. I absolutely love his character with like every part of my soul. So he is definitely up there with my newest fictional crush. Like, best boyfriend, he's got it. But I would also like to mention one more. Now, technically I read this in like right at the beginning of July, so it does feel a little bit like cheating, but I just needed somewhere to mention Matthias Tilo Jones. I was so pleasantly caught off guard by this book as well. Like, I went into this with very little expectations. I enjoy Hannah Burnham Young's writing. I enjoyed Out on a Limb. I enjoyed Out of the Woods. I enjoyed Next of Kin. But Matthias Tilo Jones, like, he can just do no wrong. He is perfection. He is perfection in my eyes, and I love him so much. But I just wanted a little honourable mention here because he is technically from the second half of the year. But Matthias, that's where it's at. So, question number 9, we are nearly there, just bear with me. We have my most beautiful book from 2026 so far. Now, I was looking at my books for a while. There's definitely some fairy lutes that I could mention here, but there is one in particular that just takes it for me that's not actually a fairy lute, and that is Kissed by the Gods. This is book 1 in the Eternal War series, and I just think that this book is absolutely gorgeous. Like, the foiling, it's insane. The sprayed edges. This is the Waterstones edition I have, and honestly, it's just beautiful. It is just beautiful. And not only is the dust jacket beautiful, the naked hardcover is also insane. Is she not just gorgeous? Is she not just like one of the prettiest books you ever did see? I feel like the naked hardcovers on books are getting so much better and so much prettier, and like book designs in general are just something else now. Like, they're insane. But I just think that this book is so gorgeous. I am obsessed. I cannot wait to read it. And this is also a new release that I have not got to yet. This is one I was talking about earlier, and I cannot wait to pick this up. I've seen so many people rate this 5 stars, and I feel like I'm going to end up going in with really high expectations, but I'm trying really hard to, again, keep an open mind and not read too much into reviews and things. I want to go in with very little knowledge. I want to go in as blind as possible, so I cannot wait to read that. I've heard the most amazing things, and I really want to get to it. So that's definitely my prettiest book of the year so far, though. That is definitely the prettiest one to be added to my collection so far in 2026. Okay, final question then. So question number 10 is my sort of like must read TBR for the rest of this year. Obviously, the new releases I haven't read yet. So Light Wielder, Kissed by the Gods, Bloodbound, Furybound, definitely up there with some books that I really want to get to, but I also wanted to just go through some books that were on my TBR for a while that I would also really like to read. The first one being Iron Flame. Now, Emma, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I know, I will get to it, I promise. I still haven't read the second half of this book. Me and James were buddy reading these. I've read Fourth Ring twice now, once on my own, and then me and James buddy read it, and then we started buddy reading this. We did all of part 1. Part 1 has been read, like the bookmark is still in there, and we just never got round to buddy reading part 2. Now, the fact I haven't read this is actually a little bit criminal, and Emma, I know you're going to shout at me, and I'm sorry, I will get to it soon, I promise. But I would really like to actually finish the series. Literally this morning I saw the announcement for the sort of like novella book, and the fact that we're going to get like 13 little threshing stories, and I cannot wait for that. I think that's going to be incredible, and I think we're going to get like Zayden's and all the other characters that we already know and love. I'm hoping for Liam's as well, and I'm so intrigued to see sort of like how it went for everybody else, because obviously it's such a big part of the first book, it's such a big part of Fourth Wing, that I feel like it's going to be really interesting to go back and get everybody else's stories, and I am wondering if it's going to be important. But equally, I haven't read this or Onyx Storm yet, so I feel like I definitely need to read them before I jump into this new book so that I don't get any spoilers, just in case. But I would definitely like to continue on with the Empyrean series and get up to date with this, because, you know, it's overdue. I would also really like to finally get to the War of Lost Hearts trilogy by Carissa Broadbent. This is book 1, Daughter of No World. And again, I have the full collection with the gorgeous sprayed edges. You can see the other two peeking out here, and I've heard the most amazing things. I think the size of the series as a whole is a little bit daunting, and I'm wondering if that's why I'm struggling to pick them up, but it's on my 26 and 2026. I really want to read these books. I've heard the most amazing things about them, and I just think it's a series that I'll really enjoy, so I really want to get to these soon. But again, romantasy, we'll figure it out. And then I also have a couple of sport romances that I feel need a mention here. The first one being Consider Me by Becca Mack. I've heard the most amazing things about this series. Whenever I ask for recommendations on sort of like what sports romance to jump into, this series always comes up. This is book 1 in the Playing for Keeps series by this author. They are sort of like adult professional ice hockey romances, so it's not college romance or anything like that. But it's a series that I have again heard the most amazing things about, that comes highly recommended by you guys. So one that I do feel I am doing a bit of a disservice by having not read it yet. And then I also have Face Off by Chelsea Curto. I think part of me is waiting for the rest of the sprayed edges to come out, so that if I do love this, I can immediately like knock out the rest of the series. But this is another professional ice hockey romance series, and is also a series that comes highly recommended by you guys, so one that I definitely need to crack on with again sooner rather than later. So I'm thinking smash out the Playing for Keeps series and then maybe jump into the DC Stars series after that. But again, is a series, there's 2 dragonflies just sort of flying around outside my window, and it's so distracting in the best way. Like, it's so cute. I love dragonflies, they're so pretty. Bright, like 2 bright red ones, and they're just like dancing around together, and it's so sweet. They're huge as well. They're huge. That's so sweet. It's so cute and so distracting. I definitely want to jump into this series as well, because I feel like they're both series that I will really enjoy. And then my final must for the rest of this year is actually a full ACOTAR reread. But I want to sit down and annotate and read these. If that's something you guys would be interested in me sort of like filming, I would definitely be down for doing something like that. I am hoping to do sort of like a reread ACOTAR together sort of style video. Maybe we'll break it down into 2, so we've got like the first couple of books, the second couple of books, and then when the next ones come out we can sit down and read those together. There's 3 of them, sorry. And then maybe when the new ones come out we can sit down and read those together as well, and we can get a full series out of it. My version of this is battered. It got took on holiday and has a bit of water damage, I'm not gonna lie. I am a poor bookkeeper. But yeah, I do really want to get some hardback copies of these so that I can annotate them, and then all of them can be the same, and it'll just really tickle my brain and make me really happy. So that is definitely something else I want to do, and I feel like I need to crack on with that sooner rather than later, because obviously the next one comes out in October. And I'm not gonna lie, I keep seeing all this stuff about how you need to have read like Throne of Glass and the Crescent City books before you go into the new ACOTAR books. I haven't done that, I haven't got time to do that. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna have to, because I don't have time to read all of Throne of Glass, all of Crescent City, and also read all these other books, these other 300 books that I haven't read yet. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We're just gonna focus on ACOTAR. I feel like that's the most important thing. I feel like me and Molly sat down and were talking about ACOTAR the other day, and she kept being like, and then when that happened and that happened, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that. So I feel like there's so many crucial moments that I'm just gonna miss because I can't remember the details. I am the worst. I am the worst reader on the planet. I cannot retain information. Obviously I can tell you the very big things that happen in the ACOTAR series. Can I tell you all the little things and all the like important little details? Probably not. So go me. So there we have my mid-year book tag. I am genuinely so happy with my reads so far this year. I don't feel like I've had many disappointing reads at all. All of my reads this year have been 3 stars and above. Some people may say that it's just because I'm a generous rater, and yeah, I probably am. But with that said, I also just know what sort of books I like, so I know that I'm going to enjoy them 9 times out of 10. Like, I can go in feeling relatively confident that I'm going to enjoy the book because I know what I enjoy. Unless there's any sort of major issues with the writing style that I just don't click with, or like major issues with plot that I don't agree with, then I'm gonna enjoy a book. So there we have it. That is everything for my mid-year book tag. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you agree with the sort of books and the comments that I've made, then let me know, or if you have some different opinions, also let me know. I think it's so interesting because obviously things I love are things you probably won't, vice versa. I just think it's such an interesting topic, and everyone's opinion is equally as important. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I think that it's a really fun sort of conversation, especially when you have sort of different views on things. I think it can be such a good conversation when handled nicely. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon, my Goodreads, my business email, and my Fable are all in the description bar below. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope you're well, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.